Welcome back to 10 Tenths Podcast. And live from my basement, it's Saturday night. Wait, that's a different show. That's a different show.
We're a little late on this one.
It's a Sunday afternoon in the future. Because we're squeezing this one in for the fans.
For the fans.
For
Robbie.
the fans.
What are we even going to do on this week?
We had no idea.
I got the worst news I've gotten all year, and I thought that things were going to be way worse than it ended up being.
So I'm glad.
Do we want to? Should we talk about that, or do we just?
Yeah, it's the reality that we're in, man. People care.
That's fair enough.
People care.
One of my coworkers, who I work very closely with on a fairly regular basis, tested positive for the Rona.
The Rona.
And so I have been in quarantine for the last week.
Which you would think would give plenty of time for podcasting, but that seems to never be the case.
No, the normal Wednesday night that we record this, I was not feeling the best, but I was pretty sure it was mostly my allergies. But my significant other, who has had many a health problem, was feeling really shitty and running a low fever, and I thought, great, here we go. But that turned out to be related to her chronic pancreas problems, and so far, knock on wood, I don't think any of us have the Rona. So
I hope you never get the Rona.
Unfortunately, somehow, despite the fact that I have been in direct contact with someone who has tested positive, the state of Iowa will not test me.
And we'll just leave it at that. Because we could spend a whole podcast ranting about that.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it really doesn't.
But it is what it is.
Yep.
So panic over. I think I'm in the clear, and so we decided, what the hell, let's do a show.
Let's do a show. My wife's at work. I got nothing on a Saturday night.
Oh, man, that must be so nice.
I was playing video games before you got here. Or before you called me.
So was I.
It was nice.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, just normal. Getting stuff ready for whatever event we finally get to go to.
Yeah. Speaking of video games, shall we dive into those?
Yeah, let's open this up. Presented by Factory Fabrication.
So I've been kind of threatening to do this. I don't know if I've threatened to do it on the show. I know I've threatened to do it on the group. But I've been kind of threatening to do this for quite some time. I finally pulled the trigger on it. I bought all of the parts, brand spanking new, to build myself a gaming rig.
Hell yeah.
So I now, two of the parts, just the motherboard and my solid state that I'm going to use for boot drive and stuff like that, showed up today, and the rest of the parts won't be here till next week, and the final part that I really need the most, which is the graphics card, won't be here until it estimated delivery the 27th. So don't expect me on any racing platform soon, but my hopes and dreams are that this, although I did budget this out a little bit, that my hopes and dreams are that it's good enough to run most sim rigs at probably a lower frame rate and stuff like that. I just have like a 1080p TV because I don't really care enough to buy one of the fancy 4Ks, and this one hasn't died yet. So I'm not going to be asking that much of the rig. So
no, you'll be just fine. It can't possibly be as bad as the $450 HP that I use.
Right. So I gave my buddy Chaz, longtime friend of the show, who we've talked about a few occasions. I've even drove his car in one of the early episodes.
Adam crashed a Miata. Yeah, we remember.
Yeah. Well, it's one of my favorite ones because I got to use the Rob Responsibilities.
That's the worst
the very first time.
That's the worst episode.
That was one of my favorites still to this day. But anyway, he's kind of a computer nerd or whatever, and so I said, hey, this is my budget. I gave him a $500 budget. I had been looking at buying some used machines, but every time I found one, I either was told it probably isn't what I want by a few different people, or by the time I was ready to go and get it, it was already sold, because I refuse to send someone a message on Marketplace if I can't get there within 24 hours of the initial message.
That's perfectly reasonable.
You know what I mean? So I knew I was going to be moving my parents a week or two ago now, just before I found out about the Rona situation. I knew I was going to be moving my parents, and so I was going to be gone for a few days. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to message any of these people right now. And so I missed out on a couple of gaming rigs I really wanted. I missed out on a sweet set of Corvette C4 saw blade wheels that Robbie sent me for dirty cheap.
They were basically free.
$30.
I know. I remember.
I was pissed.
Yeah, those would have been perfect.
Like, I don't have time to go get these before I have to leave. By the time I get back, they're for sure going to be sold, and they were.
Yeah,
so
they
is what it is.
Well, I thought maybe you could put them on the Cavalier, but apparently they don't fit. They only fit on the S10.
No, they're not the same bolt pattern. That's like a 5x117, I think.
114.
On 114 on the S10, and 5x100 on the Cavalier.
That's frustrating.
So, yeah. Plus, it's kind of a weird tire size. It's like a 255/16.
Not common.
No, and so they're not exactly reasonably priced. And so, while it's fine, in some situations, I don't think I want that on my 100-mile-a-day daily.
No, probably not.
Because I basically have to buy a summer tire. And for that thing, I just want wears like iron all seasons.
Yes.
For now.
Something you can last and just leave for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is. It was $30. I've never seen them for less than at least $100 to $200. Admittedly, I don't look often. So maybe that's what they cost nowadays. I don't know. But that was super cheap. And I was like, man, I would rock those so hard. But is what it is.
Normally I send you stupid shit. That was actually legitimate. Like, hey man, I think you actually want these.
Yeah. I was super into that. Which is it's rare that someone sends me something that I actually am interested in a price range I'm willing to spend. Usually it's either something I couldn't care less about or something I have nowhere close to the amount of money I need to buy it. You
mean like somebody waking you up on a Saturday morning to let you know that there's Lamborghini doors for $250 on eBay?
I really want to. I do. I really want to go and get them, but I'm not going to.
I understand, and I would do this. I would do the same thing.
The car is so rough. Like when you look at it, it's got a lot of scrapes and dents and chips, and it just is not a good looking car at all, physically. And it certainly has less cancer than most Cavaliers of its gen in Iowa, but it still has rust. It's still starting to bubble through on the rear quarter right in front of the back tire like they all do.
Yep.
And it's only a matter of time before that car explodes and rots out from underneath me. And so I just don't I don't want to spend money on this car. And if I'm going to put Lambo doors on something, it'll probably be the S10 when it's running again. So it's just not where I want to be with it. I mean, I do, but my adult thing is preventing me from doing it. So
yeah, can't be doing that. Plus, you'd have to get wheels that would look good with it. Then you got to fix all the paint, and then you're just way too far into it, way too fast.
Yeah, and I kind of thought, well, maybe I'll just buy a body kit that I want and just slap it on the car and not even paint it and take it over to Robbie's and we'll just wrap the fucking thing and move on with my life. But I just don't want to do that either.
No. Plus, then by the time you wrap it, those things get damaged so fast and so easy, and then you're mad at how shitty it looks because it's a cheap wrap.
Yeah,
trust me, I know.
Or maybe we just, I think I know one or two locals that have guns for
a plastic
dip. And I guess I could do that too, but I don't want to do that either.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and it needs a new trunk lid, which is not part of a body kit. Some of the quarter panels are dented up and dinged up, and I think a good PDR guy could probably fix it, but I'm not going to pay a good PDR guy to fix a 180,000 mile Cavalier. I'm just not going to do it.
No, don't do that.
That's dumb. And wrapping it that way, it's going to look dumb too. And so I'm just not going to do it.
Nah, just leave it. Wait till you get the cars that you want to be doing that stuff to,
right
where you want
right.
them, and then do that.
When I'm ready, I'll buy a nice one somewhere. There'll be one. They're out there. They're not that hard to find if you're not looking in Iowa. And I'm not afraid to travel for the right car when I'm ready. So,
yeah,
whatever. But anyway, computer rig.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this. So see what this. I'm so tired of. Oh, here's the latest and greatest, newest console. Oh, guess what? Your wheel doesn't work anymore, so you got to spend another $500 or $600 on a wheel. I don't want to do that all the time.
No.
And you know what? Every wheel that's ever been made all work on any PC you put them on, whether they're 10 years old or 10 minutes old. And so I said, screw it. It was literally within $100 of being the same cost to build the computer as it was to buy the wheel that I wanted to run on my Xbox. And I already know that Microsoft has a new Xbox coming and it probably won't fucking work. And so I'm not doing it. And I just bought the rig or the PC instead.
I think that's a better choice. I think
I'm going to be happier with it.
That gives you more options. You can basically do whatever you want with it.
I bought like a $30 wireless keyboard that has a touchpad on it, so I can like navigate to things I need to open to launch games, and then after that I'm just going to use a controller or a wheel anyway.
Yep.
And it's literally just going to be hooked straight up to my TV like a console, and that's going to be the end of it. So
yeah, that'll be nice.
But I already own a Assetto Corsa on Steam from years and years and years ago. When Chaz used to live with me and had a gaming rig that could run that sort of thing. And so you'll probably see me on Assetto Corsa sooner than later. And I kind of hope that I can get Forza, which is a cross-platform game, so I can play it on computer. With whether you have Xbox One or computer, we can all play together. And I know that like our local SCCA region's been doing a bunch of stuff, and we kind of tried to start it on the group, but then Josh Fettis, who's the one that started it, decided that iRacing was cooler and switched to that, which I will not be doing because I'm not spending the monthly or annual money to do that, because I'm not interested in any of the cars that are on iRacing.
See,
and so I can't. I know that people are using it to like hone their craft and learn their racetracks and all that stuff, but I just don't care that much, man.
No, I get that. I've definitely come around to iRacing, but I do have a problem. Like, again, I've said it before. I really like Assetto Corsa. I'd rather just play that.
Yeah.
But like we were doing the SCCA, the DMVR SCCA guys were doing. There's the Forza group, and then there's also the iRacing group. And I was running with the iRacing group for a little while, and then it just felt like I would get one day a week that I could actually do anything, and it was never the week that, or the day of the week that they were racing, or it was that day and I hadn't practiced the track at all yet. So I've only ran with them a couple times, so I haven't done it. Basically, everything's been on my own. But I'm back into doing Assetto Corsa again. But again, I have a $450 computer. It is not great.
Right. Well, I gave Chaz a $500 budget, and as is with any good project, it ended up being closer to $600, but I'm not mad about it. So
no, you'll be happy when it's all set up and running here.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it'll be cool.
It's a shame it wasn't here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I probably should have pulled the trigger on this weeks ago and just said, let's do this. But as I've talked about a couple of times on the show, I'm really trigger shy about spending money right now. And this, I think I got paid for this week. I don't know. It's very confusing, and nobody likes to like straight up ask HR about those sort of things, And
they probably don't give you the best answer.
And they don't want to tell me either, because I think they're hoping to not have to, and so I'm gonna have to deal with that on Monday probably. But
yeah,
I've just not been dealing with it,
Yeah.
So I think I got paid for this week, but I'm not really sure.
Gosh,
so
I hope so. I really do.
I got like 20 or so hours in this week already before I had to shut her down Tuesday morning. So whatever.
Yep.
Yes, I had 20 hours in by the end of the day, or by Tuesday morning, because I'm an idiot.
No, you gotta make that money. Hustling overnight.
So, yeah. Slept for 3 hours on the side of the road Tuesday morning before getting back to the shop, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's what everybody does. That's a normal job.
I'm like a trucker.
They just put up signs by my exit because they had too many people doing that, so now nobody's allowed to do that.
Yeah, I wasn't on the interstate. I was on just a 4-lane highway.
Yeah.
I was literally on the exit for the local drag strip.
Not a lot of people there yet.
And by local, I mean it's an hour and a half away from Des Moines, and I live an hour farther away from that. So it was a long drive, and I didn't feel like trying to do it all at once. So I pulled over. I'm just going to sleep for like an hour or so, and 3 hours later, I woke up like, shit, I should probably get going.
The sun's coming up.
No, the sun was way up. The sun was coming up before I started heading home.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but they say, if you're going to stop for a nap or whatever, stay clocked in. That's fine. It is what it is. We'd rather you do that, and that is obviously good. But I was like, man, I didn't want to take a 3-hour nap. So I clocked out before I started driving again, just because I thought that was the fair thing to do.
Dude,
so
I would have done the same thing. I
try not to abuse it. They could be a lot worse than they are about, how we get paid and our hours and stuff like that. And so I try not to abuse the situation when I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't need to talk about that stuff.
Talk about work shit.
So, yeah. But I guess if you are a Forza user, I should probably start adding some of you guys to my Xbox Live and stuff like that, so that or Microsoft Live. I don't know how this works. I don't know if it's different. I don't know how it works. Somebody tell me, I guess.
I can't answer that one.
I know you can't, because you don't own any of those things. That's fine. Somebody knows. Somebody tell me, because I have no idea.
If you want to add me as a friend on iRacing, you can do that. I'll be your friend, and I'll race with you. Is
there an Assetto Corsa friend list?
I don't know. Yes? Yeah, they have to, because the guys from Drift Collective and stuff, they all drift together. Or Scrapeyard.
They have a drift thing they've been doing lately, don't they?
Yeah, so I think you got to be able to have friends on Assetto Corsa.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can add me there too if you want. I'll figure it out.
We could have a 10-10 room on Assetto Corsa and just be burning laps together, maybe.
That sounds fun. Well, if you add me on iRacing and you invite me to come race with you, that would be great, because then I know that you're okay with me crashing. That's why I still have that anxiety as if it was like a real track day. Like if I make a mistake, I'm going to ruin someone else's day, and that still bothers me. I hate that. I was that way with like online gaming, like when I was in high school, like Call of Duty and stuff. I was like, I suck at this, and everyone's so good at it, and I don't want to ruin the team.
I still don't play first-person shooters because of the anxiety that it caused in my life when I was in high school.
People take that dead serious. That's what I was playing. That's what I was playing today, because I've been doing just sim stuff, and I kind of get burned out on it. Like I want to do something else. So I was just doing, I'm playing Modern Warfare 2 on PlayStation 3, just giving that a try for a while.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I'm still okay at it. But yeah, you can tell I haven't played video games in forever.
Nerd alert incoming here. But if I were to be honest, probably 75, if not more, % of the reason I'm building this machine is because I am a Skyrim obsessed lunatic, and I've really lately gotten into the modding scene in Skyrim, and because on the newest version of Skyrim, they let you do mods on the Xbox, and but there was only a limited amount of space worth of mods that you could download, and so that was frustrating. And there are some extensions and stuff like that you can add to it on the computer that you can't do on the on the Xbox, that would allow them to make much more intricate and complicated mods that are much more interesting, and so those don't exist on the Xbox, and that was also frustrating. And so I've been dying to play these, because people like build like whole new DLC sized maps that are built on the Skyrim engine and are lore friendly, and so they look and feel like part of the original game. And it's just that much more stuff that I can do on this game that I've got probably over 1,000 hours on at this point in my life. The game's almost 10 years old, and I still play it like almost every time I turn on a console, I'm playing Skyrim. And so I guess this is just the next step in my Skyrim obsession.
I didn't realize you were still playing that as much as you were.
Oh, dude.
I remember you played it all the time.
I own 3 games for my Xbox One. That's it. I've had it. Katie bought it for me. Katie bought it for me at Christmas time, 2018.
Okay, I remember when she got it for you.
And she got it.
Yeah,
she got Skyrim with it. And basically the only other game that I have put any real amount of time into, which is also an old fucking game, is Witcher 3.
I don't know that game.
Which is kind of just Skyrim-ish.
Okay.
And
didn't they make a TV show about that?
Yeah, it's a great show. Everyone should watch it.
Okay.
It's on Netflix.
I haven't seen it or played it.
We're going to talk about it. Fuck it.
It's our show, man. We can do whatever we want.
The TV show, like, you have to push through the first couple of episodes. They did a really poor job of explaining what's going on at first, but there's like 3 or 4 different timelines of story that they're trying to show you all at once.
Okay.
And so they'll do a scene from one timeline, and then they'll skip to a different timeline and do another scene, and then they'll skip to a third timeline and do another scene, and then they'll jump back to one of the other timelines and do another scene until all of these stories meet up at one point in time, and then it goes on from there.
Oh.
And if you don't know that because you've played the games or read the books, it's really fucking confusing.
Okay. Great.
So like the first two, maybe 3 episodes are really confusing. They don't make any sense until you realize like, oh, these are different timelines that now meet up at one point. This makes sense because some of those timelines have the same characters in them at different points in time.
Oh, that would be infuriating.
So you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, man.
Why is he over there now?
It's what?
That'd be infuriating. Watching it, then not understanding why he's over there now when he was just over.
Yeah. It takes a little while for you to finally grasp it, and it's one of those that like I kind of knew what was going on because I'd played enough of the game and I pay enough attention to the little details and stuff like that in those games that I knew some of the stuff that happened in previous games and books, and so I knew enough to logic my way through it and help Katie with it. And once we figured it out, we loved it. It was really good, but it was one of those where like, well, I almost need to watch it again now that I understand what's happening, and I won't be so confused the whole time. But it's really good still. You'll probably hate it.
Probably. I'll just.
So.
I'm not into fantasy like movies like Lord of the Rings and like Star Wars, stuff like that. Like great movies that everyone really loves. I just don't get into them. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
Yesterday morning, I was watching Star Wars Episode 1, which is everybody's least favorite Star Wars movie.
Uh-huh.
But I actually really enjoy that one. And that's the one where they do the pod racing scene. And Logan fucking loved it.
I literally don't know what any of those words mean.
So in the Star Wars universe, there is a racing thing called pod racing. And it's literally like they take 2 jet engines and they tether like a little cockpit behind them, so it's almost like 2 horses and a chariot.
Okay, I got a picture.
Except that they're jet engines and a cockpit, and then they race them through the desert at really high rates of speed.
I'm pretty sure I've actually seen that one when it first came out.
Yeah, probably that would have been like the first of the rebooted series when they started doing it again in like the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, like our middle school range.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw it at least once.
I'm sure you probably got drug into it at some point with some friends. So, but that particular movie is like everybody's least favorite Star Wars movie, and I actually really like it. And I think almost everybody's favorite Star Wars movie is actually probably my least favorite. So
it happens.
So it scared me as a small child. Empire Strikes Back was a scary movie when I was a little kid, and so it's still my least favorite one.
But you don't like horror movies at all.
No, I can't do them. I hate horror movies. Jurassic Park is a horror movie to me.
Dinosaur movies should be horror movies.
You're not wrong, I guess.
You should be scared of the dinosaurs.
See what happens when you open things early, Robbie?
Yeah, exactly. They didn't even open Jurassic Park, and look what happened. Then they opened Jurassic World, and then look what happened there.
People died.
People died, just like in Iowa.
Lots of people.
Speaking of Jurassic Park, and since we're doing nerd shit right now,
okay,
there's a company out there right now that's taking the game Half-Life and modding it and creating an entire Jurassic Park first-person game.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And I'm so excited about it. This will be
this modding thing. People get crazy.
The graphics and the trailer and everything that surrounded it made it look like it was a legit production. Lots of money into it, but I think it's just like a handful of people that are just so into it that this is like what they do in their free time. That's
how Skyrim is.
There's
like entire game-sized mods built on the Skyrim engine. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if they plan to sell it on like Steam or if it's like or if just download it. But I'm anxiously awaiting for it to be done. It's supposed to be done this year, and I don't know if the coronavirus stuff has made it move along faster or slower. But they did do an update right before everything kind of hit.
I can tell you this: the modding community, the place where everyone posts their mods and then people download them, has been wildly busy since Corona hit.
That's good. Well, I noticed I was finally able to find a copy of Gingerman for Assetto Corsa. I don't know how long that's been out, but I couldn't find it for the longest time, and I finally found it.
Right.
So now I think
I remember you saying that.
I have everything that I want that's available. There's a few tracks that I wish were available that no one's just done, but if they're out there, I have them, which makes me really happy.
Cool.
So if you need them, when you get your Assetto Corsa, let me know.
Dude, I will be hitting you up for that. I'm super excited about that. There's definitely some tracks that I've wanted to race on that have never been on any sim game that I've had. Or maybe we're on really old ones that aren't fun to play. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that. So
yeah, the mod community is really impressive with the Assetto Corsa. Because a lot of those tracks, are not part of the game, but they're really well done and fairly accurate. It's
amazing, isn't it? It's crazy what just people can do.
Yep. I tried to create the Iowa Speedway because the only one that was available was iRacing, and I didn't have it at the time. But I'm not.
Is there a Roval?
Yeah, it's on iRacing.
It's not just the oval though.
There's 5 configurations, I think, for Iowa Speedway.
Look at that.
We got to pay like $15.
Nice.
$15 for that.
Which
I haven't.
That frustrates me about iRacing.
Yeah, so I haven't bought that. My plan was to buy that track when I'm going to go to that track again. But
makes sense.
But with the whole no one being in Newton actually running the track right now, it's being run by people in Kansas City. So who knows if we'll ever be there again.
Yeah.
So that's another reality that we got to deal with.
I don't know, man. I'm just glad that there's light at the end of the no racing tunnel.
Yes.
So we'll be able to get out there and do some stuff. I have some freaking PTO time to burn through.
Yep. Yeah, I used my first day the other day. Other than that, I've had no vacation all year.
Well, the place I work at, we reset on your work start anniversary.
Oh.
And instead of at the beginning of the year or whatever.
Right.
Which kind of makes sense, I guess. But we're not allowed to accrue any, or we're not allowed to carry over any PTO. So, like, if you don't use a single day of PTO in a year, on your work start date, they're going to write you a check for all your PTO, and you're going to start at 0 again.
Oh, okay.
So they pay you out for it.
Well, that's good.
But
instead of use it or lose it type stuff.
Yeah, but my opinion of that is that even if I'm sitting on my couch, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, you need that break.
Like, I'm not gonna take a check for 40 hours. I'm gonna sit on my couch for 40 hours and take that check instead.
Yeah.
That, I guess maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, but that's just how I am about it. And I still have 40 hours I haven't used, and it's got to be gone by September. So we need some events to go to.
Hopefully.
Because I've been saving PTO because I thought this summer I was going to be out of my mind busy, and then I'm not.
Yep.
So we decided even if Champ Car races at COTA that we were going to not go because we didn't want to. Champ Car's been really slow about canceling events. And like the week before, they'll be like, yeah, sorry, we're not going to do this. And that doesn't work for us on our time schedule.
No,
because Josh didn't want to sink a bunch of money into getting the car ready just for the event to be canceled.
I totally understand that. Which
all the drivers understood too. And so we just decided, you know what? Even if they say this is a go the week beforehand, we're not doing it. I think that some of them had paid some of that money. It was refunded, and we're just not going to go. So that's gone. I'm not going back to COTA. We've already had one Grid Life event that's been canceled. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the rest of them. I think they're probably going to happen, but I don't know if I'm going to go to them or not. And so it's like, well, I need to burn up some PTO.
It's time to just be at home or go anywhere. Take a vacation
now too.
Well, take a vacation.
I've spent enough time sitting at home now too.
Yeah.
So.
But say we're supposed to be able to go to Blackhawk Farms on the 29th, 30th. I can't remember. At the end of the month.
Yeah.
So that's the day of the event is the first day that that's supposed to be open. So unless something happens between now and then, which it easily could, we're a go for our first track day time trial event at Blackhawk.
Isn't that the same weekend as what is going to be just a regular Grid Life event and not a festival at Gingerman?
I thought that was a week after.
Is it?
Or did they move the day? I thought that was the first weekend in June, and then the Blackhawk Farms time trials.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah, it is. It's the first weekend of June.
Okay.
So there's a week apart.
Yeah, 1 weekend to the next.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I'm ready for that. We can talk about that.
Yeah. So let's move on to some other stuff. We had a short list of things we were going to do, and we're already way longer than I think we both thought we were going to be to begin with.
That's fine. So,
you went on a track day.
I was able to finally get out of the house, drive the car for the first time this year. If you are local, you know that RPM has been allowing people to do private test days, even during this like lockdown or quarantining type stuff. So
they had some like real specific rules on what you could and couldn't do, though, right?
Yep. So you're allowed. I think you could do 10 cars. Total. We only did 5 cars, and then we had a couple of us brought friends. I didn't bring anybody. But then you would park, multiple car lengths away from each other. Everyone would just kind of spread out amongst the drag strip paddock. And it was, we only had 5 of us. It was real easy to just go. It was nice because you show up, and it's just like the owner comes up and goes, "Hey, I'm going to let you police yourselves. 2 people on track at a time. Insurance doesn't allow passing." Pretty straightforward. And it was that simple the whole day. So we just kind of were Midwestern about it, going, "Okay, you go first." "No, you go first." And then we just kind of took turns running on the track. It was it was really nice to just get out and do a shakedown of the car. I had no intention of going fast or trying to set fast lap times. I had worn out RE71Rs from Booney from like 2 or 3 years ago. So those were dead 2 or 3 years ago. So it was basically just just a chance to get out there, make sure the power steering pump could handle without blowing a line off or any other weird thing. Like,
I forgot about that.
Because like the last 2 years, I've constantly been burning up power steering pumps, and then this year I finally got that expensive one. We talked about it, and I got all new lines for that.
Then you blew a line after the swap meet, right?
After the dyno day.
Oh, that's what it was, the dyno day.
Because it ran the entire day for the dyno day, and I actually drove it around, just test drove it and stuff. Totally fine. And then when I was driving it into the shop, it blew the line off, which is really nice that it didn't do it at the shop or anything, or at Skunk River Restorations or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
So I got that fixed, and then I took it out, and it was fine. I had no issues with it at all. But yeah, I'm constantly nervous about that thing, just like causing all sorts of issues. But the track's still not the best surface. You can tell it's been sitting underwater, or had been sitting underwater last year.
Right.
So
it needs to be rubbered in, I'm sure.
Yeah, for the most part, most of the track's pretty what you'd expect it to be, but there's some really bumpy spots. And Matt had, I was going to bring a picture of it, but Matt had a really bad day because he dropped a wheel off of the corner at, I think it was turn 4. Yeah, so you come around 3, take 4 going down the straight to 5.
Yeah.
So coming through 4, he dropped the wheel off the edge of the track, and he basically tore his splitter off and ripped his bumper in half.
Oh, no. I guess I didn't notice it was that bad.
So
I saw that he had a little damage, but I didn't think it was...
It was bad. Real bad.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, he built that splitter over the winter.
Yeah, he did a bunch of stuff on that car.
Yeah, he did a lot of work. And then basically anything on the front end got torn apart. And then he also had another lap where he blew the coolant line off of his
water to air.
Yeah, for his supercharger. So he blew a coolant line off of that. I guess a water line, so it's not actually coolant.
So what is that? That's is that an S197 Mustang?
Don't ask me.
Pretty sure it's an S197. I don't think it's an S550.
I have no idea. I couldn't tell.
It's one of those two.
It's one of the newer ones.
Yeah. But I think it's a 197.
We'll go with that.
But
yeah. But the track's in pretty good shape. There's a couple spots where it's really bumpy. Like if you're coming, I'm trying to like do two things at once. But if you're coming out of if you're familiar with Raceway Park in the Midlands, if you're coming out of 15, going down the front straight, you would notice that when you put your foot to the floor, it felt like you were having a wheel spin all the time. It's because your back wheels were bouncing off the pavement. So
the exit there is pretty rough.
Pretty bumpy coming out of 15, and then going into 1 is real bad. So I was convinced I had all sorts of brake issues. So I'd go down. I'm not maxing it out. I'm going like, let's say 8/10 on even my fast lap, air quote fast laps. I'm not going that fast. I brake real early, and I hit the brakes, and it felt like the caliper on my passenger front would grip, and then the driver's side wouldn't grip because the way the car would just shimmy. It was braking totally normal.
Oh, okay.
But it was because the track was so rough that I would hit my brakes and I would hit the bump at basically that exact moment, and the whole car would just shift in a way that it felt like one caliper was working, and just totally threw you off your balance. So like that had no confidence going into 1. So like the whole day I never went very fast through there. But other than that, I mean the track's in really good condition, and it is weird though because going down from 8 to 9, that's one of the last straights before the not chicane. Anyways, be basically going down from 8 to 9, that straight. You're going straight, but the track is curved in a way that your steering wheel is very much not straight. I was convinced that I had all sorts of like weird steering
issues or something.
Like weird steering issues all day. I was like, I'm going straight, but I'm completely at a 90-degree angle. Everyone's like, mine's not quite that bad, but yeah, you can definitely tell.
Jeez.
Because yeah, again, this power steering pump feels a little bit different. Like
Right.
I actually have less feedback. It feels like.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really powerful power steering pump.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like it's floating. It just doesn't have a lot of feedback. But it also
Well, it's designed to hold cars at 200 miles an hour on banked ovals. So yeah, I can see where it's probably a lot more steering or power steering pump than you probably need most of the time.
Plus, it's on a rack that it wasn't designed for. So I already have the restrictor in it, which again adds other issues. But it just
it creates its own problems.
Yep. So it doesn't. There is feedback, but it's definitely very light, and it just took some getting used to because it felt like I was convinced that my steering wheel was not on straight, just because I was going straight with the steering wheel turned funny, but it was in both directions. It wasn't it wasn't just like I was always turned to the right going straight. I was turned to the left going straight. Then I was turned to the right going straight.
I wonder if you can get a hold of the manufacturer and get like different pressure rebuild kits for those pumps, because I'll bet you they're pretty highly customizable.
These should be. I know Turn 1 does a rebuild for $150, so I would imagine there's different things you could do.
That's cheap.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like anyone that needs a a power steering pump for an LS, just get the NASCAR one for $85. It's cheaper than the OEM. And then if you need to rebuild it, you send it to Turn 1 for $150. It's a no-brainer.
No joke.
But yeah, it was a really fun day. Just getting out there and shaking the car down. I think I need to do this every year instead of just going to the first event. Because
absolutely. Did you find anything that you needed? Because I know you did a ton of stuff. You redid your front end aero entirely. You changed the rear diff. You did a bunch of stuff this winter. Were there any problems?
No problems. The steering felt a little bit different, and you could definitely tell the gearing's different. Just with the taller gears, but nothing dramatic.
So, do you think the gearing was still the right move?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like normally I would have gone all the way into fifth to get anywhere near the same speeds going down that front straight. So I was well into fourth going faster.
See, I know you were like real worried about your top ends, but I was worried about like your slow corners losing some of that grunt to pull you out of corners and stuff like that by having the longer gear ratios. Like for slower corners, you didn't really seem like you were lacking in those.
No, and RPM doesn't have the slowest of corners.
That's true. It's a lot of fast sweeping corners.
15 would be your slow one. So
slow west.
Yeah. So that one actually dropped down to second gear to take it. But again, I can't really say because I wasn't going to 100%. But
yeah,
it's got enough because it's a V8, so it's got a little bit of that that low end torque, so it kind of overcompensates that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if it was a high strung engine that you had to be in higher RPMs, it'd be a much more dramatic change. But so far, it seems to be the right move. We'll see what it does.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll see what it does when I'm actually driving it at its limit and putting down lap times. But it was nice that it pushed me further into the class, though, because it read different on the dyno.
So that's a stock 350Z diff.
Yeah, the viscous limited slip.
So, but that's a factory stock 350Z diff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Because
I'm just trying to remember what it was.
Yeah. So they're very similar viscous limited slip design on the the Q45s or the any S chassis, or I guess even the Skyline chassis. But then the 350Z is a different shape, but it's basically the same design, and you can basically bolt those into an S14 subframe with a few bushings. It's super easy. But yeah, the the 240SX diff is a 4.08, and then the 350Z is a 3.53 ratio. So it's not an insignificant change.
Okay.
It read 30.
So how about the front arrow?
I don't think I pushed it anywhere near where I would actually have noticed a difference because
That's not a track you've been on. Have you ever done a grip day there?
Yeah, it's been 2 years almost, a year and a half, because I did the end of the years when I first.
That's right. Yeah. Where you parked out by yourself and.
Yeah. My first two Time Trials events were there.
Okay.
And then I ran slicks all last year before I switched to. Well, then for this event, I was running those. They sat out in the shop, frozen over the winter, ruined RE71R. So, I had no intention of trying to push these through a corner. I just assumed I would go sliding through. So,
But all your ducting for the cooling and stuff worked?
Oh, yeah. It gets up to temp and stays there. No issues at all. It does a good job of, follow, the flow. I created a duct I created a duct through this air dam, and then it's angled in a way that brings it up through the radiator, and almost it's like an angle that aims directly through the fans, and then that goes up out through the hood scoops.
Right.
So it seems to work as intended.
And that's sealed up as much as you can and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's sealed up on the sides and the bottom. And then it goes up against the radiator.
Nice.
So it seems to work just fine. We'll find out at the end of the month as on a little hotter day and driving it a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't the hottest. I mean, you had a decent day. It was a nice day, wasn't it?
It was in the 80s, so it wasn't cold.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
got sunburn.
I didn't realize it was that warm. I mean, shit. That's
summer temperatures.
That's as good as Yeah, that's as good as we really. I mean, that's as good of a proof of concept as anything.
Yeah. No, it never went above gosh, it's been a couple weeks already. I can't remember. Let's just say 220 was the hottest I ever saw. It was, or for oil temps, sorry. But yeah, it was not hot.
Do you run just straight water in that?
It's a really, 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 really diluted mixture. Because over the winter, I ran probably a little bit more diluted, but just enough that I didn't have to worry about it freezing. And then then in the spring, I always top it off with water. So I want to have a little bit of coolant in there because I don't want just water in there because I'm afraid it's going to have corrosions and stuff in there in the engine. So I just want.
We always ran water wetter.
Water wetter. I didn't put any in this year. I will if I do anything with it. But right now,
my dad swore by that stuff in the drag car.
It seems to really work.
Yeah, it was impressive in the drag car. So.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Good. I'm glad that things went smoothly.
Yep. One thing I did notice was that in the my confidence wasn't there. I know the track pretty well, but you could tell I hadn't driven a car on a track since October,
right,
or September. So it just took a little bit to get the cobwebs out, and then just messing with the car. So the steering felt kind of funny, so I was dealing with that, and then my suspension was way too soft, so once I stiffened that up, I actually felt way better, even though it was bumpier. Just taking corners was a lot more confidence-inspiring once the suspension was a little stiffer. But, it ran great. I didn't have any real issues. Seemed all the bad luck went towards Matt that day. So I appreciated that he took that for the team.
Way to take one for the team.
Yeah,
take the bullet.
Because the first event last year, I took it all, so I think it's only fair that I don't have to take it all every time.
He's not in your class anymore, right?
He's in production E, which is the faster class. He's using the full potential of his supercharger now, I think, or at least near
most of it.
Yeah.
Do we know? Has he
He has not given me numbers.
Been on the dyno?
I don't know if
given a number.
He hasn't given me a number. I don't know if he's been on the dyno.
Oh, okay.
And then Adam Pacetto with his S2000.
He's now turboed. He's supercharged too, right?
Pro charger.
Yeah, right? He's got Science of Speed, I think it is. That's the one that most people use.
Yeah. It is very, very, very fast. He claims he's in production D. I don't buy it.
Oh, yeah? You haven't seen his dyno sheet either?
I haven't seen his dyno sheet, and he's still doing a lot of like tuning and stuff, because he was basically the whole day he was taking like data logs and sending them off and saving them, and so I know it's not where he wants it, but it is fucking fast. So that is not a heavy car, and it seems to have a shitload of power. So I would be really surprised if it's still in D. But maybe it is. And I guess he's not really running that wide of wheels and tires, so who knows. But it sure seemed quick. Because he was...
You're like, son of a bitch.
He said he hit 150 going down that front straight, and that is flying.
Whoa.
Flying at RPM.
I'm gonna be fact checking when we get done here. I got a couple of friends with S2000s that have some time there. I'm gonna be fact checking.
I know my speedometer is not super accurate, especially once you hit those speeds. And I didn't get anywhere near 150 that day. I can tell you that much.
Right.
Granted, I wasn't trying to, but I know I didn't get anywhere near it.
That's fucking booking, man.
It was fast. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in E with how powerful that car can be. Or I don't know
how fast Dalton goes there.
I'll bet it's at least 150 if he wants to. That car's flying.
I know. 150 just seems like a crazy number to me.
That front straight? Absolutely. I remember my first...
Because like at Road Atlanta, the unlimited cars do 160.
Yeah.
Or Road America as well, the 160, 170. So 150 just seems like a crazy, crazy, crazy fast speed to me for cars that are making 5 and less.
So we'll even mine at I guess it'd be 315 wheel now. I was hitting 120 down that front straight, according to my speedometer. Maybe, granted, that's where the speedometer stops. And there's no more. There's nothing to read after that. It just goes to 120. So I mean,
like coming into that corner is like the slowest
corner.
The corner coming into the front straight's the slowest corner, and turn one's probably one of the slower corners too, isn't it?
You can take it pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised. I mean, that's not like. I think you could probably take it 70 with a really good grippy car.
Right.
I think I can't relate it to this last weekend because it's not even close to what I was doing. But I want to say I was doing it like 60 something before.
Okay.
But again, I didn't have a really good data system when I first did it, so that could be completely off base.
Okay.
So his car's quick. He said he was scared of it.
I'm sure.
And I think that's totally justified. I would be. Because it has power, man. It is flying now. So this should be, assuming we can get all our events and with the group that we got, this should be a really fun time trial series this year. I'm really looking. I was looking forward to begin with, but I'm really looking forward to it now. And it was nice it's nice that the guys that were really competing with each other, like this is that group, and that we can all go and do a test day together, and even though we're direct competition, it's just like us hanging out. So I'm hoping we can kind of keep that mentality with everybody at the events for the rest of the year. So if you're not doing anything the last weekend in May and you have a car, you should come out to Blackhawk. You could do the HPDE stuff with the SendDiv people, or you could do the time trials with us. It'll be fun.
There you go.
And that's just a Saturday event.
Right. Just a one-day event?
Yep. So go down Friday, long Saturday, and then I'll get back late, or I guess early Sunday morning.
Are you driving home right after?
Yeah, I think so. 'Cause I really don't feel like sleeping at the track 2 nights in a row if I don't need to. But we'll see how
That's
I feel.
fair. I get that.
We'll see how I feel because I really don't. Yeah, I don't want to. I think the track guy goes till like 8 at night, and then I don't know if we'd even be allowed to stay. But I really don't feel like staying, getting up, and then driving home. That doesn't sound fun. That doesn't.
I don't
sound
think
fun
that Blackhawk cares about anything like that. They're super chill from what I've heard.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a really good setup and really good people to work with. So, because I wasn't sure if they were even open on Friday because the track day is literally early Saturday morning till Saturday evening. But then we got that clarified that we can show up after 6 on Friday and get set up, and then the track day all day for Saturday. And it's really not too far away.
Cool.
Yep. So the car's all set up. I spent the day with Randy swapping out tires. He helped me because I struggled, and then I broke his tire machine. Apparently, I'd never done it before, but those little plastic they're called duck heads that you take the tire on and off with. Apparently, those are considered consumables. But when I broke it and I sent a picture to Randy, said, "I owe you one of these." He goes, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I'll be right there." And then he helps me. But squeezing those Continental wets onto the minimum size wheel is not easy. You would think that the big meaty ones would just kind of fall into place, but that's not the case.
No.
It took 2 people to get them on. And Randy knows what the hell he's doing, so I appreciated that.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, though.
Yeah. But I'm ready. The car's ready. I did notice that there was a little bit of oil dripping below it. And I think it's just power steering fluid, so I think one of the fittings is not as tight as it needs to be. Something as simple as that. I'll look at that tomorrow, but everything else is good to go. Tires are all set. Car ran great. Fresh oil. I'm ready.
What more could a man ask for?
Yeah, having cars that are ready to go. That's the dream, man. I mean,
you're all dressed up with nowhere to go, Robbie.
I am. In fact,
that's the problem.
I was all dressed up, and I made Jess go somewhere yesterday. We just drove around West Des Moines to see all the people out being social. We didn't stop and talk to any of them. We just drove around.
No, gosh, no.
So we took the Z.
You guys would have done that anyway.
You mean
that's just normal.
Under normal circumstances, we would have stopped and had dinner.
Okay, that's fair. But you wouldn't have stopped and talked to people.
No, people ain't no good unless it's our sushi place where they know us, and then it's fine.
Are they doing carry out?
They were closed for a long time.
Can you carry out sushi? I don't know.
Sushi's kind of an experience. I've done it before.
Right.
I've done it before, but I prefer not to.
I get that, but you've experienced it, so I prefer. Now it's a little different, right?
Yeah. Not only that, I prefer to sit at the bar I guess not the bar, but the sushi bar at the sushi place.
Yeah.
Because I like to watch them work. I like to watch the food being made. I'm weird.
I am making me feel uncomfortable or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, then they give you free stuff though, because they'll hand you a bowl of sashimi or a plate with sashimi on it or seaweed salad. That's nice.
I suppose that appeals to the cheapness that is Robbie.
Oh well, no, well, it's not just because of the free stuff, but it's a dinner and a show, man. It's nice.
I get that. It's I've never obviously I haven't been to a sushi bar, but I've been to a couple of the hibachi grills.
Yep.
And even just Who Hot, which is obviously not the same.
No, but you get the idea.
But I get it. It's definitely a show and an experience and something to go and do. So
yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, we went out. We haven't done anything in a couple of weeks besides just yard work and stuff at home. So we went out and just cruised around.
Yeah.
And I did something that I've never done. It's been many years. I was telling Randy, I bet it's been 10 years since I've done this.
Oh?
It's when I went to a stoplight and I was the first in line thinking, all right, this will be fun. I can just get on it and take off for a spin. I left it in third.
Oh, no.
I left it in third and it died. in front of like 20 fucking people. And my first thought was, oh no, the engine just went. I never in a million years would have been like, no, you are an idiot. No, obviously it was just I put it in the wrong gear and left it there. But the Z is the shortest shifting car I've ever driven.
Oh, really?
It's a real cheap short shifter, and it is half the throw the 240 is.
Is it too short?
It takes some getting used to, and the problem is that it's a really cheap one, so the tolerances are really like loose. So it's okay. So like for example, if I'm sitting there stopped, and I need to get it in first, you can't just like push it all the way over and up because you're pushing it too far to the left. You have to like bring it over to the right spot and then push it over into the gear.
Ugh. That's so annoying.
Same with fifth gear. So if I go from fourth, I have to gently put it into fifth at the right angle, because if I go over too far to the right, it gets jammed up and doesn't know where to go. And then I have to bring it over to the left a little bit and find that sweet spot. It's very frustrating. But it has taught me patience and precision with my shifting. So I'm convinced that I went down to what I thought was first was actually third, because the difference is like half an inch.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as
I can see that.
So as soon as I realized what I did, it started right up and I took off. But then all I could think about was that the picture of Stewie Griffin with the gun in his mouth. I'm like, that's how embarrassed I am right now, because I was so embarrassed to just make that mistake in front of so many people.
Oh, well, Robbie, none of them know you. You'll never see any of them again. It is what it is.
Except for the part where that car's like super loud and everyone sees it.
That's true. Well, yeah, but like, let's be real here. Most people assume that the louder the car, the more idiot the driver. So that's just par for the course. It's fine, Robbie.
That's fair. Also, because we were cruising around West Des Moines, I just kind of wanted to see like what was open and what was closed. So we drove like through the mall. I'm like, I shouldn't be here in this car. I look like a pervert. A 350Z scouting the talent at the mall. Yeah, it's sketchy.
But you got your wife in the passenger seat. It's fine.
I did have that going for me. If I was alone, it would have been super sketchy.
Yeah, you would have been way weirder.
And it's not an Evo.
That's fair too.
But the Z's not much better. But as I'm trying to keep up with pictures as I'm doing this, I also remembered I've been really busy. I completely gave a facelift to my trailer.
Oh, that's right. I saw those pictures.
Yeah. So when I bought it, it was the guy had basically torn off all the stickers and then painted it a stainless steel like a stainless steel silver color. And I never really loved it. And everyone would ask me if it was an aluminum trailer, which of course it's not.
Yeah, I thought it was.
God, I wish. No, but the paint was getting kind of crappy, and I'd never really liked that it was silver. So I went out and got some like Implement Tractor gloss black. So then just sanded it down, painted everything black, got all new stickers, and then realized also that according to not the DOT, but like the highway safety, whatever requirements for trailers, you have to have reflective tape. Mine had none. So technically, it wasn't legal or whatever the word would be. I don't think I'd ever get a ticket for it, but it didn't have the reflective tape as required. So I put the reflective tape on, brand new paint job. I put a non-skid coating on all the wood because that wood was getting kind of old and worn. So I didn't want to just put grip tape on it, and I didn't want to just stain it. So I'm trying this like non-skid coating that you put on like the surface of like a boat or like a yacht.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like rubberized undercoat, but not really. So we'll see if I like it or not. I figured it was worth a try. So yeah, I like it.
Fine.
Yeah, I got a totally refreshed trailer now.
Good.
That's really all I got to say about it. It was a shitload of work.
It looked really good. In the pictures I saw, it looked really good. Sometimes it's the little things.
Yep. Kept me busy for a handful of days.
Well, that's nice too, Well,
then I came into the house, and Jess goes, "What did you do?" I was like, "What?" Apparently, all of the because I sprayed like all the frame and stuff under the trailer,
right?
So all that overspray just went straight to my face and eyes.
Around
my respirator because I had the respirator on, but it was like it doesn't fit perfectly, so I'm like sucking air through the nostril over the top, so it was like around my eyes and down like around my nose, just paint. It was as if I had taken a brush and just across my eyes. So then I'm in the bath. I'm in the shower like scrubbing it, and then I'm using like her makeup remover to take it off, and then I get done and it's like flaming red.
Well, yeah.
and I go, this is gonna hurt tomorrow, and sure enough, it turned into like this gigantic fucking scab from my eyeball all the way down to my mouth on my left side.
Oh, that sucks.
It reminded me how much I like painting, but I had forgotten how shitty it can be when you have to like paint under like a trailer or in really weird spots.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as painting with a static gun, but it was up there.
Oh, Jesus.
Because it's this when you paint with a static gun, it's finding ground. So when you're completely covered, except for like your eyeballs, so then the paint goes straight to your eyeballs.
Right.
So that sucks.
Yeah. It's hard to avoid though when you got to crawl underneath it. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's got to get done.
Yeah. Well, the next owner of that will thank you.
Exactly. It'll be a while, but hopefully one day.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for like quite some time. How do you feel about talking about the news?
Let's do the news.
Presented by Apex Pro. And I lied to everybody because I said I was going to use my Apex Pro. And as I got to the track, I decided I have no intention of trying to find the fastest lap time today.
Right.
So I spent the whole morning focusing on setup and then spent the whole afternoon focusing on driver technique. All at like 7% or 70%, 7/10.
Like
because
heel toe and stuff like that.
The entire afternoon, any turn that didn't require a shift, I left foot braked, and any turn that required a shift, I made sure that I focused on the heel toe downshift. So
there you go.
I took
foot braking.
I took everything slow, and I was trying to find the right line. I wanted to trail brake into the apex. I wanted to get my shifts right. Granted, I didn't do any of them right, but at least I'm fully aware of what I'm not doing right, so I can focus on fixing those. I'm at a really frustrating point in my driving, is that I've spent a lot of time educating myself on the right way to do things, but I don't know how to put that into action yet. So
what you're telling me is you're book smart?
Exactly. I need to work on my street smarts. So it's quite frustrating. I'm aware of what needs to happen. I just need to put it in action. So that was my goal.
People talked about, like, I hear it all the time when people talk about them learning heel toe. They're like, yeah, I learned it on the street. I'm like,
it's not the same.
Maybe I just don't have the right car. But every car I've ever owned, you have to drive like an incredible asshole in order to get the brake pedal far enough down to heel toe.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing it with the Z a little bit, but again, you don't drive that way on the street.
You gotta drive way. You gotta be real deep in what I would consider to be a normal braking zone on the street.
Yeah,
real deep, especially when you're doing 25 miles an hour and you're trying to slow down. And how often do you heel toe, or how often are you braking from 70 to 0?
Yeah, it's it's forced
under heavy braking.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and then when you're doing it on the street, it's forced at best. Like you're not braking quite the same way. So
Right.
you got your foot in the right spot, but you're not truly braking. So you're just kind of like pussyfooting it into the brake until you get there, and then you blip the throttle, but you're coming to a stop or taking a slow turn. So I mean, it kind of works to get your feet in the right spot, but it's not the same.
No.
I actually felt that it was easier. Not to say that I was doing it really well. I wasn't. But I felt like I could get the rhythm for it on the track a lot better than I ever could on the street, which was a little bit more encouraging.
My thing is, maybe this is different I'm sure this is different for everybody, but if I learn how to do something wrong, I'm never going to be able to fix it.
Yes. You're going to spend twice as
much
much time.
So if I try to force myself to learn how to do it on the street, I'm never going to get rid of the bad habits that I picked up by learning it there that don't apply to a track situation.
Yeah. I actually felt like I did a better job trail braking with my left foot than I do with my right, which obviously my right foot is my dominant foot that I've been doing forever. Because I feel like I have to break the tendency of braking the way I do on the street with my right foot. But with my left foot, it's all new. So whatever I'm doing, I'm deliberately doing with my left foot. So I'm not trying to break that habit of hard brake, soft, or soft brake into hard brake into soft brake that I do with my right foot.
I left foot brake all the time, like on the street.
Oh yeah, I've started doing that with the pickup, anything that I can with the left foot. So I have noticed a huge difference there. Well, and then when I had that surgery where I severed 5 tendons, I had to drive.
Yeah.
I had to drive left-footed for 6 months. So I think some of that's still retained.
Yeah, I can't remember what foot. I think I broke my left foot when I fell off the roof. Yeah, I broke my left foot because I could still drive. I just couldn't drive the car I owned at the time, which was my Audi. And so I had to borrow my mom's car the whole time she drove my Audi.
Well, that's no fun.
Because I needed an automatic so that I could just get to work. So, but yeah, I get that. I've been there.
Yep. But I do have my Apex Pro. Everything was working. I had it all set up. I just decided, I made a conscious decision not to use it for a practice day. I have it, and I'm ready for Blackhawk. I will have my spare if you are there, so you could do a test run with that if you would like. I can show you the way around it. For anyone else that's planning events coming up, and now is the time to buy. So you can get your Apex Pro at apextrackcoach.com. Use the code 10tenths, get a free suction mount. You've been putting it off for too long, man. It is time to get your Apex Pro. So this news is presented by them.
First up, Toyota officially confirming that we are getting a GR hot hatch in America. Yeah. But, Robbie...
But you think it's going to be a Corolla?
It's not the one I want.
What do you want? I know what I want.
I want the Yaris.
You and me both.
Dude, I fucking love the GR Yaris.
Because if you go to the Toyota website, the website that they're talking about, that they're hyping this up for the American market, they have the picture of the Yaris.
But it's not going to be the Yaris. It's going to be the Corolla.
Which, do you think it's going to be a 4-door?
Do they make a 2-door Corolla?
Could they make a 2-door Corolla for the American market?
If they don't currently make a 2-door Corolla, they're definitely not going to make one as a hot hatch.
I feel like that's not the way to...
Because they make that hatch. Corolla IM, which is what all the Formula Drift guys have converted to rear-wheel drive.
Yep.
But I don't think that's what this is going to be.
No. There's a picture of a lowered...
The trunk car.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a trunk car. It's still a hatch, but it's the 4-door.
Yep. I'd be a lot less excited if it's the 4-door.
It's going to be the 4-door, dude. It's not going to be the Yaris.
That's not...
The Yaris is rad.
I'm not even a hot hatch guy, and the Yaris looks like a bundle of fun.
I want a regular Yaris in the worst way. They have a TRD package Yaris, and I want that in the worst way.
That would be the perfect car.
But the GR would be even better.
Yeah, all-wheel drive with like what 250 wheel horsepower.
You're talking up to 275, maybe even.
That's quick for a really light car.
Oh,
Small
dude, it's gonna
car.
be great. It's gonna be great. So hopefully they don't ruin it with like torque vectoring bullshit like Ford did with their STs, and hopefully it's great. But I don't know, man.
I don't want to get too excited about it and then have it just be a lowered 4-door Corolla.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be, if they're putting the GR badge on it, it's going to be worth talking about. But especially in this day of relatively bland hot hatches, except for the ones that we've had forever.
Right.
I mean, Ford's completely out of the hot hatch game. So basically we have like the Golf, which we've had forever. And it's a cool car, but it's not an exciting car because it's been around for so long that it's just kind of like, well,
it's a new one.
It's the fallback,
Right.
It's always there. I'm not worried about it. I probably should be because it's probably going to go away, but it hasn't. And, then we've got like, I just lost it. Who else makes a hot hatch that I was thinking of is relatively new? Oh, the Type R.
Yeah.
That's a relatively new car. It's fun. It's exciting. It's rear wheel drive, or it's front wheel drive, just like this is going to be, because I don't think it's going to be an all wheel drive version like, obviously the STI. Well, that's an all wheel drive car, so it's an entirely different animal.
So the Yaris is all wheel drive.
The Yaris GR?
Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe.
I just have the feeling that's not what they're going to do.
I hope so. I hope they do. They might. Just pull out all the stops. If you're going to do it, go all the way.
Here's the thing. If you're going to pull out all the stops, you're going to end up with a $45,000 Corolla that no one's going to buy.
Yeah.
So you got to hold some stops back.
Because a hot hatch shouldn't be $45,000. It should be like $30,000.
That's kind of like Focus RS money. I don't remember exactly what they cost, but they were in the 40s at least.
It's too much.
And how many Focus RSs do you see?
You don't.
None.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
It's a real subtle difference between an RS and an ST, but it's obvious enough to someone who knows that you see it. And I see plenty of STs. I never see RSs.
Yeah, I don't think maybe once.
Yeah, I've seen them here and there, but there's certainly, and I think if you're out of that $30,000 range, you're never going to sell enough cars to bankroll the whole idea, and then it's never going to happen twice.
I completely agree. It has to be in the $30,000 range for even your best one.
I think it has to be in the mid $30,000 range.
Yes.
Even if that means that you have to skimp on some of the creature comforts and replace that money with performance parts, which I think
that's what you should be doing anyways. A
large majority of enthusiasts are fine with. Not everybody is Michael Beck where they want to be bathed in luxury while they have a semi-fast, fun car. That's not what they're after. That's not what everybody wants. Certainly some of those people exist, and those people can go buy RS3s, they can go buy S3s, they can go buy AMG A45s or whatever, and they can spend $50,000 on a fucking hot hatch if that's what they want. But most people don't.
No, and the GR badge should be performance, not comfort or luxury.
It's Gazoo Racing.
Yes. So
racing.
Let's hope that they don't.
Gazoo luxury sports car.
Yeah, don't throw a bunch of luxury crap into it. Keep the price at a reasonable level. It won't be cheap, but it won't be. It doesn't need to be expensive.
I don't expect it to be a $25,000 car, but I don't think it should be any more than $35,000.
No, and I think at $35,000 you can sell it and justify it, and it'll sell like. And I
think if that means that you have to make it front wheel drive only, as long as you put enough rear bar in it to make it rotate a little bit, it's fine.
Yep.
It still can be. Front wheel drive cars can be fun if they're set up properly.
Right.
You don't need all wheel drive or rear wheel drive to make them fun. Sure, it helps. I get it, but it's not a requirement.
No, it's not.
It just needs a well set up chassis and a smart person, guiding that, which
I mean, they already have
this day and age. Shot in the dark as to whether or not we're going to get that.
Yeah, they already have the platform with the Yaris. I mean, they can just steal stuff off of it and bring it to America. It'd be so easy.
I love that thing.
They don't need to reinvent the wheel.
No,
they already know what we want.
Yeah,
just bring that. Put a different badge on it. Change it a little bit. Bring it over.
Yep. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not a hot hatch guy, but I would be on board with an Americanized version of the Yaris.
Yeah, they've confirmed that it's coming, but not what it is.
Yep. So keep an eye out for that.
But signs point towards it being a Corolla. So
yep.
Next up, BMW is ending European delivery program for U.S. customers.
I always thought this was kind of weird.
I think it's awesome.
I think that they could totally have redone this differently. I don't know if I've said it before on the show or not, but like, it seems like a huge inconvenience to have a car made and delivered in Germany, fly out there, pick it up there, drive it around, and then have them ship it again to America.
Well, I think what makes the most sense, and I think this is probably what you would suggest as well, fly me to Germany.
Yes.
I'll take a tour.
Yes.
I'll follow a car.
Yes.
Might not necessarily even be my car, but I'll follow a car through the factory, through the assembly line. And then when I walk out the door at the other end, you've got a rental fleet of M3s. And I hop into one of those and I go do my lap at the Nürburgring and I go do my bonsai run on the Autobahn. And then I bring it back to you and I throw you the keys and I get in my plane and I fly back home. And then Des Moines BMW's got my M3.
Yes.
Make it a European trip, not a European delivery.
That's exactly how I would have done it. And then, I mean, even I think they could still,
just as many people would take it. The same person,
the same people would take it.
The same people would take it. Maybe more people, because honestly, I think that there's got to be a multi-month lead time between the time I go see my car and the time it gets delivered.
Yeah, it's not getting overnighted.
And that might turn me off on the whole idea.
No. If I know when my car is going to show up in Des Moines, and then I can schedule a trip to Germany, like let's say I buy a brand new BMW, my new M3 is going to be delivered to BMW of Des Moines on July 4th. I can go get it. But now I have BMW fun coupons that I could go to the factory and get all the other stuff because I just bought this brand new BMW, and so now I have my coupons. I can take them whenever the hell I feel like it.
Well, like when you could buy a new ST, a Focus or a Fiesta.
Yep.
You got this thing that you could go to. I think it was even free, maybe. You just had to get there.
Yep.
There was at I think Ohio Motorsports campus, or not Ohio, Utah.
Utah.
Josh up there by the Ken Blocks. And you got to tour the Ken Block facility, and you got to spend a day out there, and they had like a wet skid pad, and they had some weird car control car, and then you got a little time on the track. And, I know a couple people who have gone and done it, and they said, it was kind of cool. It was fun. It was totally worth the trip, but you didn't do that in your car.
No.
You just went and you did that. And I don't think that any less people would have done it or more people would have done it if they did it in their own vehicle. The same people who did it would have done it whether it was with their car or not.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I feel about the BMW thing. I think that I understand why they're not doing it because of the whole coronavirus thing, and no one's flying right now.
But they're killing it entirely. This isn't just...
No, I feel like they could revamp it in a way that... Because, I don't think a lot of people were taking it. I just don't see it. And maybe I'm just not in that tax bracket that I'd even consider it. But it just doesn't make sense to me. It would make more sense just to give me a bunch of incentives to go see the factory. I bought my brand new car, and now I can do all this other stuff for free.
Well, the thing is, maybe it's different in Europe, but here in the United States, almost nobody orders a car. They pick a car off the dealer lot, or they tell the dealer what they want, and the dealer finds it in somebody else's inventory and gets it for them. Nobody orders a car anymore. That's not a thing.
It might be a BMW thing, but yeah,
I mean, maybe, but probably not. When there's only like 10 options to choose from to begin with, because everything's been packaged,
right?
And there's only so many ways to order a car to begin with. It's not like back in the day where if I wanted this but not that, I could do it that way. And so nobody's really ordering cars anymore. They just go and they, I want the M car with the performance package, and I don't want the ceramic brakes. Okay, well, there's one here, and there's two there, and there's this one over here. And what color do you want? Oh, I want a blue one. Okay, well, we don't have a blue one in stock, but our sister dealership, 3 hours away does. Yep. It'll be here next week. Come get your car. Sweet. Yeah, that's how it works.
Say the only cars that I can think of people actually doing that on would be the new Corvette and maybe the Supra. I think people ordered those, but I don't know how.
Well, brand new cars people put orders in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if we're talking a car that's been released for a while, nobody's putting orders in on those. They just buy what exists here in the United States already.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm not gonna
like if I wanted to buy a new M3 today.
Yes,
I'm gonna go to BMW of Des Moines, and they're gonna ask me what I do and don't want in my BMW, and they're gonna find it for me. And I'm not gonna order one and wait 6 months for it to show up from Germany. I'm gonna buy whatever's here in America already.
Yes.
And so no one's taking the European delivery. Make it a European trip, not a delivery.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
It just seems inconvenient. Even though they do all of it for you, they take care of all the shipping and all the customs and all that stuff. Or they did. They don't anymore. But
that means I have to wait for my car.
It's like you get a little tease. You get to drive it in Europe. And then you have to wait for it to get on a slow boat across the country or across the world.
Realistically, you're waiting. Best case scenario, you wait a month.
Yeah, realistically,
that's
2 or 3.
Best case scenario is probably 2 or 3. Realistically, that's not okay.
No,
especially when I can go into a dealership and buy a car and drive it home tomorrow.
This is America, and I want my car
wait
now.
3 months? I'm not going to wait 3 months.
I don't wait 3 months for anything.
No, shit. I'm pissed when Amazon doesn't have my shit here tomorrow.
Exactly. I ordered it at 8 o'clock at night. I want it at 8 o'clock in the morning. Exactly. I want to wake up and have it be here. This is America.
Exactly.
We are the most impatient people on earth.
So no wonder this is dead. But I think it could have been saved, and it could have been cool.
I think that there's any dealer should do that, where it's like if you buy a brand new car from us, not dealer, company. If you buy a brand new car from our company, you should be able, like, factory tours and all these other like fun programs that we offer. That should just kind of like be an option that comes with it. Especially if you like, let's just say a new Corvette, you get a track day and a factory tour in Kentucky and tickets to the museum, just stuff like that.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I think that's an easy program to set up, and I think it would make. I don't say it would necessarily make more sales, but I think it would incentivize people to go and buy the new one.
Well, and I think it would incentivize people to take the option.
Yes.
You can charge people for it. It doesn't need to be free.
No, it doesn't.
And people will pay for it. But I don't want to pay to wait for my car. I'm not going to do that.
No.
So, I don't know, man.
Me neither. And I'm also not a BMW guy, but
it's still, well, yeah, I just think in general, German cars in general, I'm sad that is a thing that's dying.
Yeah.
I'm sad that it's not really a thing anymore because I think it's a cool idea. It just needed some modern refinement.
Agreed. No, I like that when companies offer again, like I'm a nerd, so I enjoy watching factory tours. Like I went to the Harley Davidson factory tour, and I enjoyed that. But I enjoy when those type of options are there. So I think the company should be doing that.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to go to a factory tour.
Yeah.
So let's shut this shit down.
Yeah, man. It is Saturday night, and I got some editing to do. But we will try to catch you next week. I have a few things planned. I'll talk to Adam about it off air, but hopefully all of it comes together. And we'll be having shows here coming out consistently again.
God, I hope so.
And then hopefully the world can get their shit together so Adam and I can spend time together in face-to-face time. That'd be great.
That would be extra great.
I would prefer to have you sit across the table from me, not across the screen.
Yeah, I don't enjoy this at all.
Also, it freezes every time.
I enjoy it, but it's not the same.
No. Also, when I hit record on the Skype, it freezes the frame, so I actually don't get to see what you're doing. It's just it's a frozen picture of you. And it's never a flattering picture, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It is what it is.
All right, well, I'll catch you guys next week.